this world. So
Well, we
anyway,
could do a whole thing on that on a Tuesday or something one time, but this, you have the book, so you'll be able to put it on the screen. And then
very
whoever's
good.
in there can follow. We'll kind of do it as a kind of lecture meditation thing.
Very good. All right. So we have Zulma Gonzalez now live on YouTube and Zoom, and turning the mic over to you for A Course in Miracles meets Science of Mind and other related teachings.
Hey, family. Thankful Thursday. Woo, you heard how many times I said thankful to each and every, only one of us. It's only one, only one. I'm so grateful that there's only one. In fact, we're going to talk about that today. I um I really am glad to be here. I'm going into frenzy mode. I'm leaving next Wednesday for Egypt, and I have to turn over my puppy on Tuesday. That is having I'm having I am experiencing separation anxiety about that. Um, but all is well. All is well. My T-shirt, I didn't plan on wearing this morning, but Lovable took my time, or so my T-shirt says, because they're my tears, I can do whatever I want with them. Let's not forget that, because you guys know that at the drop of a hat, I will cry. I cry for the happy tears. I cry for my sad tears. I've heard it referred to as liquid love. I accept that. I accept that. Liquid love. Okay. Well, I am so pleased to announce that the slides are back. The slides are back. The computer is repaired. The whatever that was, the driver is repaired. Um, and I am excited about it. So we will talk about A Course in Miracles meets Science of Mind and other metaphysical teachings. And here we go. A couple of things I got going on today. Let's see. All right, come on. There we go. We are reminded first that the kingdom of heaven is within. The kingdom of heaven is us, and that whoever shall know himself shall find it. Reminder that the kingdom of heaven is you. The kingdom of heaven is me, and whoever shall know himself shall find it. You are seeing the slides, right? Somebody say yes. Somebody give me a thumbs up. You see the slides?
Yes, we
Somebody
are.
say, perfect, perfect,
Yes.
perfect, perfect, perfect. That's exciting. So, um, so, um, the reminder to begin each day with time devoted to the preparation of your mind. That's what it's all about. This is a course in mind training. These are courses in mind training. These are courses in helping us to 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 think in the direction that life is thinking, and that's always forward, always evolution, always up, always yes, to think with the mind of God. Begin each day with time devoted to the preparation of your mind to learn what each idea you will review that day can offer you in freedom and in peace. And that basically is, and while I understand that the that the healed mind doesn't plan, that's probably because the healed mind, all right, this is coming from my neurodivergent brain. I'm starting to learn to like that word. Um, the healed mind has already taken the steps to move toward to be in the healing. And I'm saying that on a tangible level. It's like I have to, before I can just move habitually, before it just becomes what becomes natural, I have to train my mind. That's what the training of the mind, train the mind. And I have to plan for that. I have to begin each day with time devoted to the preparation of my mind. I have to make preparations, or else it goes helter skelter. I call ADHD chasing the fly in my world. It's just chasing the fly. I can, I'm focused on one thing one moment, and the next thing I know, whoop, something's caught my eye, and then I'm over there, and then something over there has caught my eye, and whoop, I'm over there. I just came across, for any ADHD people that are interested in reading, a phenomenal book. It's titled Scattered Minds by a gentleman named Gabor Mate. And it's a relatively old book. I believe it was written in the 90s or early 2000s, maybe early, I don't know. Anyway, he himself has ADHD, and um, three of his children have ADHD. He talks about that in the book, but he gives examples that just blew me away. It made me realize that, gratefully, I have um, more mental control than I realize, and I understand that the Course in Miracles and Science of Mind and other metaphysical teachings, but initially and primarily A Course in Miracles, have been extremely instrumental in that. Extremely instrumental. I take that statement, guard your thoughts, that the much too telling of mind wandering. I take that very seriously. I take that very, very seriously. I take not being in the, what is it, in the sleep of forgetfulness. I take that very, very seriously. And and while my neurodivergent brain forgets that and goes into forgetfulness and goes into mind wandering. In fact, I heard ADHD referred to as wandering as an attention wandering trait. And of course, the second I heard it, I thought, oh, mind wandering. But with the course, with the course and other teachings, and now I have this behavioral therapist, it's all the same thing. Let's not forget that Helen Schuckman was a clinical psychologist. And so, and because it came through her teachings along, it was the way that the message came through her. It's because it came through her, it has to have her in it. And so it's a course in mind training. We're talking psychology here. We're talking behavioral therapy here. We can't change our behavior, but we can change our thoughts. And as a result of our thoughts changing, our behavior does as well. Be first the thought, then the belief, then the feeling, then the behavior. And that belief part can become a problem. So because as the course teaches, as far as fantasy goes, it could be, we know not what we do. If we are living from a place of fantasy, a place of illusion, if we are making up stuff, looking at what should have been, what could have been, what would have been, if, how it should be, why it didn't happen the way I wanted it to, if we're living in that world, we know not what we do, because we're attempting to live in a place that isn't real. Reality is here, reality is now. I am so clear on that. If nothing else, I am clear that the only aspect of time that has any meaning is now. And I'm on autocorrect a lot of the time. A lot of the time. Autocorrect, autocorrect, autocorrect. It's hard sometimes. Although I read in Christian Larson, it was his book, Christian D. Larson's book, Thinking for Results. I think it was his book that said, if you think it's hard because you think it's hard. Is that? I'm going to find out where that was, but not today. But it might have been that. His book, Thinking for Results. Phenomenal book. It's a thin 70-page book. Highly recommended. You can get it on what do you call it? On Kindle. On Kindle, there are six $1.99, I believe, um, volumes, which is all Christian D. Larson's work. I'm in a place of, ooh, oh my gosh. Christian D. Larson was who Ernest Holmes read, which moved him from he tremendously incorporated his teachings for the teachings that he ultimately put forth. Phenomenal stuff. Okay, let's go on. Let's go on. As you can hear, I'm chasing the fly, right? I'm so excited to be here. I'm excited. I really, really am. I've been awake for numerous hours. Anyhow, if you know these things, happy are you if you do them. It's not enough to just know it. Oh yeah, I read the course. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I read the lesson for today. Mm-hmm. And then close the book and keep on moving, and or turn right around. And I had to step away from a study group because one of the facilitators thought it was okay to just raise his voice and cross talk. I mean, not cross talk. Cut me off while I'm talking, and seemingly give no importance to what I had to offer to a conversation, which ultimately was not a conversation. There was no meeting of the minds, and while I understand his pain, his past, and all that stuff, the only aspect of time that has meaning is now. So here's a person who is during the study group preaching the course, but is not living it. I'm not living it. So I had to step away from that because it just wasn't it wasn't good for me. And I anyway, if you know these things, happy are ye if you do them. Be in peace. We should train our mind daily. We should daily train our mind. No, we should daily train our thought to recognize the spirit in everything. Oh, Glorian's hand is up. Go ahead, Glorian.
Hi, Zulma. No, I just wanted to share on something that you said, that's something that came up for me this week, which was really interesting. I was somewhere and a brother was misrepresenting something that was said somewhere else. And my guidance was to stand up for it and clarify it. And afterwards, of course, I take everything into contemplation. And it came to me that clarification is absolutely fine. And when Jesus says, in my defenselessness, my safety lies, sometimes within the world, we are guided to do things. But the real clearing comes when we take that defenselessness and attack within our own selves, and we remain defenseless in the truth, in the acceptance of what we are. But there's nothing wrong with following guidance given on the level of the world. So thank you. You just reminded me of that.
Thank you. Absolutely. I mean, needless to say, if someone is running down the street in my direction and they have a weapon of physical destruction, it's going to cause me physical pain. Don't think for 1 minute I'm just going to stand there and say, "What you doing, brother?" No, 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 no. I'm going to get out of his way and trust that it wasn't me he was coming after. We're not told to live.
Exactly.
We're not told to live in denial. We cannot deny the body. I can't deny that I am on this computer, that I am on Zoom, that I just heard Gloria speaking, that we are looking at a PowerPoint presentation, that there's an airplane that's going to transport me and 17 other people I know to Egypt next week. I can't deny any of that. That's the world I live in. It's the world I've created, the world I've made up. And that's that. And I'm going to talk about that very thing. There's a piece from Howard Thurman's book, Meditations of the Heart, called Who or What is to Blame. I'm going to read that momentarily, but let's go on. Yeah, just, anyway, we should daily train our thought to recognize the spirit in everything we do, say, or think. And in order for me to do that, it was necessary for me to step away, because I knew that I didn't want to say anything I couldn't take back. I didn't want to say anything that I would not have wanted said to me. And I could feel it coming up from my toenails, working its way up into my system. It was starting to get hot. It was getting hot. I had to, because I choose to teach by example as best I can, as best I can. That's, and as best I can. And I think Lori was talking about that earlier. That someone was seeing the light in her. I hear that quite a bit too, Lori, and I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that, because I know that there was a time in my younger years, where if they saw the light, it's because they had their own flashlight. They weren't looking at mine because I knew it wasn't. I didn't feel it. I didn't recognize it. I didn't know what it was. I didn't care about it. I didn't believe in it. All that just didn't. So, um, yes, I am my own understanding of God, is what Ruth Miller says in reference to Emma Curtis Hopkins's work. I am my own understanding of God, and and all the metaphysical teachers say it over and over and over again. We are that. We are that, and thinking that is something outside of us. Although you, you by name, whoever's on the screen, and people and things and everything. Yeah, that's all God too. But that's not. I have to tend to my own garden. I have to mind my own business. Anyway, we should daily train our thoughts to recognize the spirit in everything we do, say, or think. There is no other way. To try any other way would be to make a complete failure. Just going to mess up. So it's important for me to recognize my brother as myself. It's important to me to remember that I and the Father are one. Therefore, you and the Father are one. Therefore, we are one. This is a course in mind training, and all learning involves attention and study at some level, because an untrained mind can accomplish nothing. And I read this every week, every single week, for my reminder, because when I go off this computer and the rest of life happens, I can't jump back on real quick. Oh, what did Dove say? What did Gloria say? What did Lynn say? What did Sheriff say? What did Lori say? What was that? What was that? No, 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 no. Review one in the course says that the purpose of my learning is to be able to handle things when things are in chaos. That's the purpose. The purpose of my learning is to recognize and realize that I am the peace that I desire. That peace is everywhere I am, if I want it to be, because if I want to be in chaos, I'm going to be in chaos. But chaos, fortunately, is temporary. The peace is eternal. And if that's what I want, if I want to think with the mind of God, if I want to see things see everything from the mind of God, if I want to remember that God is in everything I see, because God is in my mind, I have to take time to slow down. You hear me just slowing down these sentences? Mommy used to say to me, "What are you saying? You're talking so fast." If only we had known about ADHD back then. That's one of the, for some, for me, it's one of the uh, traits. Anyhow, but to slow it down, to guard my thoughts, to not let my mind wander, to stay out of the sleep of forgetfulness, to realize that everything that's happening to me, supposedly, is happening through me, for me, by me, and as me. All right. All training, an untrained mind can accomplish nothing. And that's why just every single week, I'm reminding myself. I mean, you happen to hear it. You just happen to hear it. Hi, Regis. Welcome. To learn how to think is to learn how to live, Dr. Ernest Holmes reminds us. And Christian Larson says that we naturally become master over all life when we can understand and master the process of thinking. I'm not going to do too many of those slides today on thought just now. Oh, what? Except this one. Nah, no, I'm not. Today we're going to talk about all in all. That's where I am today. All in all. All in all. But before I do that, I'm going to stop share there. And I'm going to share here. This is Howard Thurman, Reverend Dr. Howard Thurman, from his book, Meditations of the Heart. Howard Thurman was a a Christian minister who had the right idea. And he, in one section of his book, Who or What is to Blame? The desire to be one's true self is ever persistent. Equally persistent is the tendency to locate the responsibility for failure to be one's true self in events, persons, and conditions, all of which are outside and beyond oneself. Often a person says, I would be the kind of person I desire to be, or I would be the thing that I have always wanted to do if. The list is endless. And A Course in Miracles very plainly affirms that in workbook lesson 71. I just realized I didn't have the course in front of me. Now I do. In workbook lesson 71, where it reads, I'm still opening the book. I'm so glad to be here today. You have no idea. Because I won't be back, Lynn, just so you know. I won't be back. I return the 11th, which is a Wednesday, but I don't know what state of mind I'm going to be in. Um, it's 7 hours ahead over there. I have to play catch up, so I don't know that I'll be back on the 12th. So I may not be back until the 12th, 7th, till the 19th of December. Not sure yet. I'll maybe the week before, but I'm so glad to be here today. The ego, from Workbook Lesson 71, it says the ego's plan for salvation centers around holding grievances. It maintains that if someone else spoke or acted differently, if some external circumstance or event were changed, you would be saved. Which is what Howard Thurman had said early on. I would do the thing that I have always wanted to do if, or I would be the kind of person I desire to be if. The list is endless. If I had been born a boy or girl, if I had been born a boy rather than a girl, if I had been tall and strong rather than short and weak, if I had been given the diet proper for a growing child, if my parents had been understanding and sympathetic rather than cold and impersonal, thereby giving me the feeling of being rejected. If I had, I had to laugh there because, you know, we hear that story. I've told parts of that story, but we hear that. Yeah, well, because my parent this and my parents that, and somebody else did, and somebody else, and that's why. And even though, I say I have forgiven it, I just seem to want to keep bringing that up. I can't. If I had lived in a different kind of community, or had grown up on the right side of the tracks, if my parents had not separated when I was but a child and made me the victim of a broken home, and you hear all this victimhood, you hear this, victims of the world we see. If I had not been taught the wrong things about sex, about religion, about myself, if I had been of a different racial or national origin, and on and on. The interesting fact is that in each if, there is apt to be, for the person who uses it, a significant element of truth. This element of truth is seized upon as the complete answer to the personal problem, as the single source of all the individual's maladjustments. In other words, if we take the if out of there, I can say, well, mommy didn't teach me some of the skills required to be disciplined. Okay, that's a fact. But does that mean that I can't be disciplined today because of that? Is that the whole reason for why I'm not disciplined in some areas? No. That's, that whole blame thing. It's just that attempting to put the responsibility for what is occurring in my life now on someone else or something else that occurred whenever it occurred. So Dr. Thurman continues, there is more to the story than is indicated. Often, not always, the person who feels most completely defeated in fulfillment is the one who has been unable or unwilling to exploit resources that were close at hand. It's written in the Bible, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. The kingdom is here. The kingdom is now. The kingdom is you. And Dr. Thurman continues, there is a curious inability to take personal responsibility for what one does or fails to do without a sense of martyrdom or heroics. Religion is most helpful in developing in the individual a sense of personal responsibility for one's action and thus aiding the process of self-fulfillment. And when he says religion, I remember this was a fundamental Christian, but religion is that which I believe I read something like, and I may be misparaphrasing it, but that to which we ascribe. So for many of us here, A Course in Miracles is our religion. Metaphysical teachings is my religion. Well, actually, love is my religion. Let me be clear. Love is my religion. And all that comes from love is my religion. But in terms of books and, those kind of teachings, metaphysical teachings, that's my religion. To see beyond the body, that's my religion. So when he's talking about religion, that's what he means. Religion is most helpful in developing in the individual a sense of personal responsibility for one's action and thus aiding the process of self-fulfillment. It is helpful in two ways primarily. There is the insistence upon the individual's responsibility to God for his own life. This means that he cannot escape the scrutiny of God. If he is responsible to God, the basis of that responsibility has to be in himself. In other words, we can't blame God. Oh, it's God's fault. God did this to me. The devil made me do it. Well, whatever. If it is there, that is, if the responsibility is in oneself, if it is there, then the area of alibis is definitely circumscribed. The assumption is that the individual is ever in immediate candidacy to get and assist, quote, quote, from God, that he is not alone in his quest. Through prayer, meditation, and singleness of mind, the individual's life may be invaded by strength. That means not chasing the fly. Wasn't I just talking about that? Singleness of mind. Through prayer, meditation, and singleness of mind, the individual's life may be invaded by strength, insight, and courage sufficient for his needs. Thus, he need not seek refuge in excuses, but can live his life with ever increasing vigor and experience an ever deepening sense of fulfillment. I'm going to drop that screen. I like this man. I like his teachings. I'm also going to stop the screen share, the slide, because the quote that I read that sooner than I had intended. So I'm going to go to a quote from the course and share from this slide. from the Course. It is not you, spirit. That they italicized in the Course. I think, if I had been the editor, it would have been a capital Y for you. It is not you who are so vulnerable and open to attack that just a word, a little whisper that you do not like, a circumstance that suits you not, or an event that you did not anticipate upsets your world and hurls it into chaos. It's not you who that happens to, because you are the truth. And truth, the Course teaches, is not frail. Illusions leave it perfectly unmoved and undisturbed. And we're talking about illusions. Things happen, winds blow, rains fall, ceilings fall, elections occur, and we may not necessarily want what happened, or we do want what happened, whatever the case may be. All these things, it's all come and go stuff. It's all come and go. It all comes to pass. It all comes to pass. It all comes to pass. Nothing comes to stay. It all comes to pass. Truth is not frail. Illusions leave it perfectly unmoved and undisturbed. But specialness is not the truth in you. You are not special, the Course reminds us. You are not. You are no different than anyone. There is no order of difficulty. All things are equal under God. It's all equal under God. Specialness is not the truth in you. Specialness can be thrown off balance by anything. And what rests on nothing can never be stable. I want to go up a slide. From Don Miguel Ruiz, the Four Agreements. He says, don't take anything personally. We think we're responsible for everything. Now, see, this is different from us being a part of us being everything in ourselves. We are our own world. We are individualized expressions of God. We are individualized expressions of God. But me being an individualized expression of God doesn't mean that I'm supposed to go jump in your business and tell you what to do and expect you to act the way I think you should act. That's not, no, 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 no. And then get upset because you don't do what I think you should do. What does the Course teach us? That we don't know our brother's function because we don't even know our own. And not to go around assigning things to people with giving them a script with, well, actually not giving them a script, or expecting them to live a script that we never even gave them, or attempting to have them live a script that we do give them, but they're entitled to live their own script. Don Miguel Ruiz said, we think we're responsible for everything. Me, always me, because clearly we think we're special. Nothing other people do is because of you. It is because of themselves. And what's interesting about that, I had a conversation day before yesterday, and they brought up sacrifice. And for a long time, and of course, I didn't understand what that meant, that there is no such thing. And then one day it all clicked. To sacrifice means that you gave up one thing for another. To sacrifice means that you would have done something else if there's an if involved, that means there's hypothetics involved. Is that a real word? Hypothetics? It's my word. That means something hypothetical is involved. It could have been different. It would have been different if. And that's what Howard Thurman just talked about. The whole if thing. That's hypothetical. It's not real. If I decided to be here this morning from 9:30 to 11 Eastern time, for those who happen to be listening elsewhere, I can talk about what I could have been doing or what I would have been doing if I were not here. But that's not the case. That wasn't my choice. My choice was to be here. So what sacrifice is there? There is no sacrifice. It's all because of themselves, Don Miguel Ruiz says. Nothing other people do is because of you. It's because of themselves. All people live in their own dream, in their own mind. They are in a completely different world from the one we live in. I have my world and you have your world. I mean, we can prove that just by the fact that we're not all sitting in the same room. Oh, we're sitting in the same Pal Talk room. We're sitting in the same Zoom room, but I'm on my computer and you're in front of yours, and some of you may be in front of your phone, whatever. We all have our own world. And who am I to say that your world is not the right world? If it's not the way I say it should be, that it's not the right world? What? What? Who gave me the keys to right and wrong? I didn't create myself. I didn't, I'm not the one in charge. I'm not the one called Lord. I'm not the one, I am not that one. I'm not the one called Father, although I and my Father are one. Ultimately, I am life. I am one with life as you are one with life, but it's not up to me to tell you how to run your part of it. The Course in Miracles is saying, you better do this. It says, forget this course. That's what it says. Just put it all down. Just come empty. Just come like you don't like you know nothing, because you know nothing. It says to me, come like I know nothing, because I know nothing. I think, I believe, I suspect, I perceive. When it comes down to knowing, I think that I know the truth. Us here, um, and Regis asked the question, why don't you decide, in quotation marks, or rather in bold, why don't you decide what, quote, state of mind you will be in? Why? Why don't you decide? I like that. It says, hmm. And we're always a choice. We're always a choice. We don't realize that we're a choice because it's happening, because decisions are continuous. It happens so fast. We don't think about the fact that before we felt anything, we thought something first. We don't think about the fact before we did something, we thought about it first, which makes me wonder about those. Oh, I was out of my mind and I didn't know what I was doing. I don't necessarily, I may have been mind wandering and therefore was acting on without paying attention. I mean, driving down the street, I've got, have I ever driven somewhere? I'm sure. I'm saying I have driven places, and I don't remember how I got from one block to another. Looked up, and I was at the next light. Like, wait, what happened there? Because I decided on something else. I was thinking about something else. I let my mind go elsewhere. And Lori reminds us that the Pal Talk and Zoom rooms are virtual images that are ephemeral. Yes, none of us has the same world because there is no world out there. There is no world. There's no space. There's no time that has any permanence. I'm going to be clear. There's no permanence because talked about it last week about if I was biting myself and I was, by example, if I bit myself, it would hurt and I would bleed and all that. But even that's not permanent. Now they make Neosporin so you can make the pain stop sooner. We have all these things out here to change how things are, and to change how things are, and to change how things are. Why? Because all comes to pass. It all comes to pass. Okay. So Don Miguel Ruiz continues. He says, when we take something personally, we make the assumption that they know what is in our world and we try to impose our world on their world. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? So I want to get upset with you because you're not doing it the way I think you should be doing it. Huh. And who am I to go there? Who am I to go there? Now, I have a couple slides that I actually read from a couple of weeks ago, but I didn't have access for them to be seen. And then when I looked at them again, I'm like, I remember this. So I'm going to go back to all in all, because that's what it is. That's what it is. And if you look at my background, you are love. It's you. And that's it. That's it. You're it. I gave a talk back in 21. I think it was September 21. And it was called Love is Here and Tag You're It. Anybody interested in hearing it, let me know and I'll find the link and I'll share it. Um, but we're it. There's not no there is nothing else. There is nothing else. There is nothing else. If I walked away from this computer, I won't be in quote quote your world. All right. So let's go back to the screen, which I think is so cool. It moves. I love that. All in all. All right. Let's talk about that. From the Bible. There is one body and one spirit. And I left the word body here because Ernest Holmes says that the manifest. Okay, how does he say it? Oh, I'm about to misquote him. I believe in God, the living spirit, almighty, one, indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. This one manifests itself in and through all of creation. This one manifests itself in and through all of creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. The manifest world is the body of God. That's what it says. The manifest, what we see, is the body of God in that tangible sense. Because we can't deny the body. And we can't deny that it's all God, regardless of whether it became firsthand, secondhand, or how it came. It's all God. Whether it came cause, whether it came effect, it's still all God. So that's why I left the word body in there. There is one body and one spirit, one Lord, one faith, one God and Father of all, who is above all and through all and in you all. And of course, I may have pulled that quote, may see it again. And of course, teaches being in God, you encompass everything. Now, says that we are in God. Because the Holy Spirit is in us, but we are in God. The Course teaches that we are part of God. Religious science teaches that we are individualized expressions of God, not part of, because that indicates that suggests separation. But we are individualized expressions of God. The Course teaches you cannot see apart from God because you cannot be apart from God. Whatever you do, whatever, hear this, not just you and you and you and you here, but whatever person you want to call you, people you like, people you don't like, the candidate you voted for, the candidate you didn't vote for, the 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 person who quote quote hurt you, or you say hurt you, who may have said something that made you think painful thoughts that then led to you hurting yourself, and those that didn't. Those people that you think are special on the plus or the minus side. No one is apart from God. Now, I won't say nobody. Everybody is separate, but everyone is only one, which is why I start each week saying a thankful Thursday to each and every only one of us. Hi, Karen. Hi, my Karen. So, um, it's only one of us. It sounds crazy as I hear myself saying it. Every only one of us. There's only the one. You cannot see apart from God because you cannot be apart from God. Whatever you do, whatever I do, whatever we do, is whatever we do, you do in Him. Whatever I do in Him. Whatever anybody does, they do in God. Because whatever you think with God's mind. Oh, and by the way, speaking of the word mind with a capital M, so I looked up the word mind, and of course, the word mind appears more than 1,800 times. However, the word mind with a capital M appears 154 times. Now, in a couple of cases, it's the beginning of a sentence, so it's still not necessarily the mind of God as the Course talks about mind with a capital M. And sometimes it's in the same sentence more than once. So it would be like I can say, you cannot uh, you cannot see apart from God because you cannot be apart from God. I could turn in the word mind. The same, the word mind would be in there twice if that was the case. But it appears 154 times with a capital M. And at some point, after I come back from Egypt, oh, I can't stop saying that. After I return, we're gonna talk about those 154 or something there about. Oh, well, let's see. And one of them is just a top title, mind, spirit, in the clarification terms. And anyway, every time it's in there, it's not necessarily talking about the mind of God. At least 150, at least 100, I'll say 150, maybe 150 times is mind with a capital M. Out of 1,800 plus the word mind. But it's important as I was reading some of these because my mind, small m, is one, has to be one with the mind of God. I can't be separate apart from life. My life is one with God's life. There is only one life. Joel Goldsmith says it. Ernest Holmes says it. I read it outright like that from them. There's only one life. Being in God, the Course teaches, I'm saying again, you encompass everything. Ernest Holmes says, I have faith. I am faith. I abide in faith. And somewhere else in the textbook, he says, we don't have, or speaking for himself, I don't have the faith of, I don't have faith in God. I have the faith of God. And the faith of God is God. And that starts to sound like a tongue twister. The faith of God is God. Because if I have God's faith, then I have to be that. There is one spirit, one God, above all, through all, and in you all. In all. Being in God, you encompass everything. We are in God. So I have to have the faith of God if I'm in it. If I'm in a pool of water and I inhale, guess what? Water. I can only inhale what is that water. I am in life. I encompass. I am life. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "Make the most of yourself, for that is all there is of you." Make the most of yourself. So, which goes back to um, Howard Thurman saying, we want to blame somebody else for the things that didn't happen or aren't happening in our lives. We do this. We do this. If I'm not the accomplished writer that I say I want to be, who can I blame for that? No one. But who's responsible for that? Me. It's me. It's me. It's me. I thought I saw some chats. Let me see something going on in the chat. Yes, you better know it, Florian. Photos, every chance I get. And if anybody has WhatsApp, I will send pictures along the way. I will send pictures along the way. Make the most of yourself, for that is all there is of you. All right, what do we have next? These are passages that I had used before. I'm gonna use them again. God is all there is. We're talking about all in all. Joel Goldsmith, in Practicing the Presence, wrote, "One day, whether sooner or later, it will be made evident to you that your life will only be complete when it is lived in God." Back to that, in God. When you're living in God and has God living in it. In other words, God is the principle. God is the principle. And principle comes before anything. The principle is it's everything. It's the focus from which to live. It's kind of like that what would Jesus do thing, what does the principle? If I live by principle, what in the 12-step program, in the 12th tradition, it says ever placing principles before personality. Principle before personality. That means it doesn't matter. That's why the Course says, it talks about your brother doing something outrageous or us not trying to correct error and all that stuff. Principle before personality. Your life will only be complete when it is lived in God and has God living in it. And that means that no matter what's happening, even in the midst of my nervous as all get out about packing, I have this, you have no idea. I'm nervous. I'm going to leave something. Oh my God, I'm going to forget something. And I have to tell myself different things. Now, as I'm saying that, I have to make sure I'm saying, I am remembering this thing. I am remembering that thing. I've trained myself 9 times out of 10. I don't say to somebody, and don't forget to, I say, remember to, because if I'm talking about forgetting, guess what? There it comes. Remember to, remember to, and as I'm learning more, as I'm learning more from this behavioral therapy, I'm texting myself all the time. So if something comes to mind that I have to remember, for example, something as simple as peas go in Lovable's breakfast when he eats his first meal of the day, his first meal, only the breakfast, I put some peas in it, for the smooth move, I have to remember to take the peas with me to to the person who's caring for him while I'm away. Something like that. Making sure that that morning, oh God, I'm giving him away. I'm giving him to her on Tuesday. Next Tuesday, as I'm putting the keys in his breakfast, to remember to take that bag, or at least a whole bunch of it, and put it in just these things, just remembering. Living in God living in my life, focusing on remembering that there's nothing I can't do. There's nothing I can't remember. Nothing. I'm not conscious of the fact that I'm choosing to forget. I'm aware that, that whatever, that there's, stuff that happens, but because I'm not in that moment, my mind is wandering. It's okay. It's okay. Karen Casey says, if I believe I am with God now, I'll behave accordingly. Today can be quite a treat. If I believe I am with God now, okay, I'm going to take the if off of there. I believe I am with God now. Therefore, I will behave as if I believe I am with God now. There's power in that. Remembering that my life is in God, remembering that gives my life power, gives me power, because I and God are one. I'm it. Nothing outside of me is responsible. Nothing outside of me is to blame for anything in my life. It's me. It's me, as Regis would sing from it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. And Ernest Holmes writes that prayer is its own answer. We shall never encompass God. In other words, the sonship consists of all of us. We shall never encompass God, and yet we shall always be in God and of God. That's what Joe Goldsmith just said. We are in it. I'm in life. I am of life. I am life. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. The Course teaches that God is all, in all, in a very literal sense. So I need to stop. Well, I don't say it. I really don't. I don't say that's not of God. I don't say that at all. I don't say that at all. I stopped. I can't even tell you. I'm going to drop the screen for a minute. I can't even tell you how long it's been since I just stopped saying that. I don't say it's not of God. It's not possible that something cannot be of God. I don't care what it is. We want to believe that it's not possible. And by the way, I believe last week or the week before, I'd mentioned that after the election, uh, a person who's very dear in my life had gone into the downward spiral for a bit, had said that, that love is not all there is, that hate rules and all that kind of stuff. And what's wonderful about that experience that she had, that helped her to recognize, through little back and forth, that God is not, how did I hear it? God's not something that we just, it's not like, something that, is just, there to, I could plop in my numbers and it's going to come out. That's not what God is. God is just the isness of it all. God is the isness. God is. Life is. So is. Lori, I'm gonna read that out. That's funny. That's funny. You ready, Lori? But yes. Oh my God. I will say this. Um, Lori will be making a peas salad for Thanksgiving. I'll just that's just that part, love. Thank you. Thank you. Uh, but yeah, so I do not ever say that something is not of God. It's remembering that everything is of God that keeps me at peace. And as I was saying, this individual went through what she went through, and she's she's come back. She's come back. She's come back because the truth is that love is real. Love is all there is. Extension of, called for, whatever. It still comes back to love. I don't care how it looks. I don't care how it looks. God is all in all in a very literal sense. That's how the Course teaches it. And I'm reminded, the voice of the Course tells me, I'm reminded that God, it's God. Oh, that's God. That's God. That's God. Shooting yesterday, I heard three people, listening to the news, three people got, shot and killed in their home. And I said, that's God. I did. I had to say that. It, happens to be, not too close by, but a neighborhood I'm familiar with. It's not so far off. And I said to myself, that's God, so that I wouldn't start, driving and ducking, driving and thinking in fear. Do I have to, last night, my own shadow scared me, or a shadow. I saw a shadow behind me. I'm walking Lovable. And I saw this shadow, and I had my hood on. It was chilly. I had my hood on, my jacket, and I saw this shadow, and I flipped around. I turned around, picked me out, and I started laughing. Oh, that's God. Go ahead, Karen.
Hi, darling.
Hey, my love.
Uh, I was just thinking you brought up a memory for me. When I was in fifth grade, in Catholic school, a nun hit me upside the head, right up against the chalkboard, like, and I had to have a little conference with my mom and the nun, and I said to the nun, "That is not of God." That's what I said in fifth grade to this nun. I said, "That is not of God." And I didn't, I just couldn't understand how she could hit me like that. So that's exactly what I said in fifth grade. And that's exactly how I felt in fifth grade. And so that just came up for me. Thanks.
Thank you. And it's a call for love. It was a call for love. And it's interesting how, I mean, of course, I used to say that about things until this kept reminding me over and over and over again. God is all in all, all in all, all in all. One God, one Lord, one Lord. Lord means of everything, every single thing, everything. Lord. My friend Sarah, Reverend Sarah Bowen, she who once upon a time couldn't even say God. Great book, Spiritual Rebel. Um, she was a preacher's kid and went into couldn't say God, didn't believe, wasn't that sort of thing. And when she was involved with in among a group where there was a necessity to believe in God, quote quote quote, person said to her, well, can you make a tree? And she said, no. Well, can we at least go with that which makes trees? And for a long time, Sarah referred to God as that which makes trees. And I say, that which made the tree, the flea, the bee, the sea, made me. That's creation. It's just creation. It's just all of creation. God is all in a very literal sense. And how, yeah, we can say as the example that just Karen just gave, that's not of God. Today we call that a call for love, a call for God. There's a call for God, and there's an extension of God. There's a call for God, and there's an extension of God. And I have to decide which I'm in. Because sometimes there are calls for God that come my way, and instead of me extending God, I call for God right back. What do you mean? How can you? It's just lifing. But today, anyway, Sarah is Reverend Sarah Bowen, interfaith minister, who's an animal chaplain, by the way, if anybody's interested in. Um, she's in New York. Um, for those of you there, you know who you are. Anyway, but yeah, Sarah couldn't. God is a placeholder. She says that the word God is a placeholder that means everything. Everything. And the first talk I gave as a religious science practitioner back in 2018, I said, God is everything, everywhere, everyone, always. Go ahead, Gloria.
Yeah, thank you, Zulma. And I love what Karen shared there because I too got noogied in the head by the nuns. And yes, it's a call for love, and we see that now. But it also does go into what you opened with about, stand like making a stand and whatever have you, and doing the loving thing within the world, but making when we were talking about making that shift in defenselessness in our minds, recognizing that our salvation only comes from accepting that self that I am. And I really like what Lori put in the chat there, and I don't know if it was read, but it resonated with me deeply. So it said, none of us has the same world because there is no world out there. So once we recognize that what we think our brother didn't occur, and we make that correction at the level of mind, however, we don't deny what we seemingly see. And it's absolutely appropriate for Karen, for myself to say to the nun, that's not acceptable, or to whoever you had to make a decision to stand up for yourself and say that's not acceptable. And I think we all need to look at that because I mean, I'll speak for myself. There's nowhere in the course where it says we need to be a doormat. And I think that for me, that was very important to recognize that, yes, I forgive, but sometimes people will take kindness as weakness. So there are times that we do need to make some kind of a stand or a position. But of course, it always goes back to asking Holy Spirit and our communication link with the higher mind, because that's the only way that we know what we're doing is the right thing for sure. Thanks so much.
Yes, yes, yes. I mean, I'm supposed to take care of this body. I am. I bathe it. I groom it. Oh, I just got a massage. I went to Hand and Stone. Those of you who know, I went to Hand and Stone and got a delicious massage night before last. I can't even tell you when it's been. It was phenomenal. You know, and am I supposed to say, "Oh no, that didn't happen"? Oh no, I'm paying a subscription for. No, 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 no. Mm-mm. We have to take care. We're not, and then and as Gloria said, not a doormat. I didn't get hit in the head, but I got yardsticked on the hand. We all had that. We had that Catholic experience. Oh, how wonderful! Well, I got hit for talking to the person in front of me. And we were seated alphabetically, and it was Anna Fraser, and then me, Gonzalez. Anna was turned around in conversation with me. I got hit, she didn't. And then I felt like, well, why didn't she hit Anna? Anna should have got, victim, me. Go ahead, Gloria.
But you see, this is the perfect example. Here we are, we're sharing it. We're not denying what seemingly we see. We're giving it to the Holy Spirit, but we're laughing. We are laughing at the insanity. And once we're in that place of recognition that the entire outpicturing is insane, we can really rest. So thanks.
Yes, yes. You gotta laugh. You gotta laugh. Because if you don't, you're gonna go up in a corner somewhere and ball up and go into depression and think that the world is an unsafe place and that things are happening to you and that you're the victim of the world you see and all that. I'm so thankful for having a choice. I'm so thankful sure I had a Catholic experience too. We did and all paths lead to God. All paths lead to God. I had to go through the Catholic experience to then go through, my first husband, he was Baptist, and I went through that experience, but only I didn't quite believe that. And then I did go to a Christian teaching to become a biblical counselor, which I thought was phenomenal. I thought that was just great. Um, a lot because it keeps coming back. And then, well, did I skipped astrology? Astrology was actually, when I was in what astrology came first. After Catholic school came astrology. Astrology for me was the connection with it connected me to the planets and that to that part of life, that tangible part. I started making the connection. It's interesting how it happens. Start making the connection. It made me one with life. I wasn't necessarily calling it God. It was the sun and the moon and the Mercury and Venus and Mars and Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and that sort of thing. Then came uh, the biblical counseling, which gave me some things, but I had too many questions, so I had to step away from um, the tradition stuff. And then came religious. No, then came the course, and every single one of these is God. It talks God. It talks in some way. It talks God. So, which is why when I first started reading the course, when I first looked at it, because I was flipping pages, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, what is this? My brother. Where's my sister? Oh, this is chauvinism. All that. And then from the course, went to religious science, and here we are. Here we are, and all we've been saying the entire time is God is all in a very literal sense. All in all, through all of it. In the Catholic school, um, who made you? Remember your catechism? Question number one, who made you? God made me. Question two, who is God? God is the creator of heaven and earth. Question three, why did God make you? God made me to show forth his goodness and to share with us his everlasting happiness in heaven. Now, we use the word created instead of made today. We're still saying this. Go find your catechism. Go ahead. I have one. Look, I'll pull it out next one of these times. It's interesting. We've been given we were given the answers even when they didn't understand the question. We were given, God is with me. I live and move in him. The workbook lesson 222. God is with me. I live in God. I move in God. In the Bible, it says we live, move, and have our being in God. Live, move, and have our being, which is what same as what lesson 222 is saying. God is with me. He is my source of life, the life within, the air I breathe, the food by which I am sustained, the water which renews and cleanses me. He is my home, wherein I live and move. What is there? What? Lesson 48 says there is nothing to fear. What reason would we have, do we have to fear anything? Because, fear is in the future anyway, and the future's not here, so that's a waste of time. Reason do we have to fear thing when God is my source? God is our source. The all, the breath I breathe is God. Everything. I mean, keep going into getting mad at somebody because no, that's God. And it doesn't mean we're not going to feel something. We do. We're going to feel something. And we all have our specialty at what we feel. I go into this little anxiety about packing and making, worrying about somebody else goes into anger, quick to do a snap thing. Somebody else, we all have our thing. And I certainly can't judge you because your thing is different than mine. We all have our thing. What's good about us having a different thing is that I'm not quick to anger, but someone who is can call me. And you might not be quick to worry. So I may call you. And together we work through this anger thing and we work through this worry thing. Because we can't save ourselves alone. This feels good to me. Go ahead, Gloria.
Yeah, I love that, Zulma. And that's the truth about it is it's really the different manifestation of the same thing, the false idea about who we are. But when we come together and we join with a brother who Jesus tells us temporarily has more for those who temporarily have less, that's the teaching learning situation. And it really is quite beautiful because in we know with whom we do share, and they represent the light and not feed into the mistaken belief. So that's what it's all about. And that's why we come to these meetings. That's why we join in the communities to walk each other home, so to speak. And just, the arc is entered two by two because I can be sharing my story with you, or you can be sharing it with me, and we can choose to see the light of Christ there.
Yes.
And then when the other person's mind vibration raises, that's the arc is entered two by two in the recognition of our complete innocence, sinlessness, and guiltlessness that never, ever changes.
Phenomenal. Beautifully stated. Beautifully stated. Thank you, thank you, thank you for that. Guiltless, guiltless, sinless. Never was there sin. Never filthy rags. Never, whatever that other thing is. Never a wretch. Never. Not me, not you, not anyone, not anyone. And as long as I'm willing to extend what I say, I believe, well, what I say I know about myself, as long as I'm willing to extend it, then I am going to be in peace about you, whoever the you is, whoever. I still have a couple more, maybe one more slide. Oh, yeah, maybe one more slide. Um, Let me share. I'm trying to share. There we go. All right. From Joe Goldsmith. We have fought every kind of power in heaven and on earth to meet our needs except one. And that one is the power that is within us. That power, oh God, I'm having a moment. Ooh. Oh my God, that felt so good. I felt that went straight through my everything. That went straight through my everything. That power is not in heaven. And it is not on earth. I mean, and I know the prayer goes on earth as it is in heaven and all that. It's, it is not to be found in a book. Forget this course in a building or in great teachers. I don't care. You can say whatever name you want, call your teacher whoever you want, but it's a symbol. It's only a symbol. And it's wonderful that we have these great teachers from Jesus on, before Jesus, before Jesus, before the physical Jesus was born, mm, there were writings years before the Bible, and it's from the Bible that it was the Bible that Jesus as a man studied because that was his, well, no, it wasn't called the Bible then. What was it called? Um, the Torah? I don't know. Don't hold me on that one. Whatever it was that Jesus studied,
Yeah, the Torah.
the Torah. Um, but what were other books? Because it's written that he made a he that he said it wasn't he asked something about ye are gods. Didn't that come out of Isaiah? Torah was just the first five books, is that right? Hmm.
Not
Somebody
100%
help.
that. Not
Huh?
100% sure, but the Torah was the first part of the Old Testament.
Right, the first five books, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Yeah. But then later on,
The Talmud.
okay, is that where the book of Isaiah is, Lynn?
I believe
Because
so.
it's
Let me look.
because it's written that Jesus says, see, I don't know, I wasn't there, but it's written that he was asked a question where he was comparing himself with God, and he said he didn't say that he was God. He said, wasn't it written that ye are gods? Oh, that's in Psalms. Thank you, Lori. No, 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 no. I'm looking for. Okay, maybe it is. Maybe it is. Let me. Oh, you got me going now. I've got 5 minutes to go, and I gotta hurry up. um, Holy Bible. All right, search. All right, gods. Um, mm, 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 mm. Okay, so I can't find it. I thought where it said that. See, I'm not in the. Go ahead, Gloria.
Someone put it in the chat, but I just looked it up. Ye are gods is a phrase from Psalm 82:6 in the Bible.
Oh, it is 82:6.
It
Okay.
says, I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. When you were speaking to me, and we were in this sentence here where it says, true, it is within great teachers, but it is there in exactly the same measure that it is within you and me, and in no greater degree. And I went to something on Sunday, and it was talking about, gurus and stuff like that. But we are all basically gurus who are the devoted teachers to the elimination of the darkness. And I think that that's what we're here to recognize, that it's within the great teachers, with I am withinness, that there is exactly that same measure that is in you and me, and in no greater degree. We all contain everything. We're not a part. We all are the entire whole as one in God. This is perfect to what I'm going to lead into reading. So thanks.
Oh, I'm giving you preface. You're prefacing this, huh? I'm looking for in Matthew. It's in Matthew 27 where it's written that um that Jesus said, oh man, I don't the way the Bible is on my computer. Um it doesn't let me just go right to the passage I want, but it's in Matthew 27. So I'm like 23, 25, 26. In Matthew 27, the 27th chapter. Come on, come on, come on. All right, Matthew 27. Uh, it says, it's not there. Okay, I can't find it. Anyway, somewhere in here, and I'm not, and this is the New King James, so it's not helping me. Um, somewhere in here, it's written that Jesus was asked, are you making yourself equal to God? And he says, uh, it is written, oh, found it. Then the Jews took up stones again, took stones. In fact, let me share this. Let me share this really quick. I got a minute or two. I'm gonna need an extra minute. Bear with me, please, please. Um, the Jews took up stones. Jesus answered them, "Many good works I have shown you from my Father. For which of those works do you stone me?" The Jews answered him, saying, "For a good work we do not stone you, but for blasphemy, and because you, being a man, make yourself God." Jesus answered them, "Is it not written in your law, I said you are gods?" And that then is him quoting Psalm 82. So, and he goes on to say, if he called them gods to whom the word of God came, do you say of him who the Father? Okay, and on like that. Anyway, that's that part. That's that part. So we're it. We're really it. So I gotta finish what Joel said, and then we're ready to turn it over. So the power is not in heaven, and it's not on earth, and it is not to be found in a book, in a building, or in great teachers. True, it is within great teachers, but it is there in exactly the same measure that is within you and me, which is what Dorian just said, and in no greater degree. We are all equal before God, and the grace of God that has given spirituality to one has given it to all. Love that, love that, love that. And Neville Goddard, from his book Mental Diets, said the conditions and circumstances of life are not created by some external power, rather, are not created by some power external to yourself. They are the conditions which result from the exercise of your freedom of choice, your freedom to choose the ideas to which you will respond. We are always making choices. We are our decisions are always continuous, and let us remember that we are, and God is all in all. And with that, I am going to turn the mic over. Lynn, thank you. I will thank you, thank you. Oh, I'm gonna cry.
Thank
I'm
you,
missing
Selma. Thank you.
you guys already. Oh man, oh man, oh man. I'll see you on the other. I'll see what I'll probably listen in because I'll have WhatsApp. I don't know what I can do with that. But anyway, I love you all.
Have a
Lynn,
joyous trip.